You might think that you already learned everything there is to know about the pyramids of Egypt, but many mysteries are left unsolved thousands of years after the construction of the pyramids. Some scientists found answers to our questions, while others just have crazy theories to explain all this. Stay tuned until the end of the video to learn more about the hidden chambers that might have been discovered. If you love mysteries as much as we do, don't forget to subscribe and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today we're showing you 10 biggest mysteries of the pyramids you've never heard of. The construction. You've probably already heard about this mystery, but most people have never heard about the answer to our questions. Many people have been wondering how the pyramids were made by men when technology did not even exist. The 3 pyramids of Giza were built around 4,000 years ago, for each of the 3 pharaohs at the time. Ancient Egyptians have been able to move massive stone blocks across the Valley of the Kings in around 2000 BC. The first and largest pyramid, built by the pharaoh Khufu, still stands 455 feet tall, while the second was a little smaller and the third one was 215 feet tall. It just seems impossible for them to do this at that time. But a new study finally solved the mystery. Ancient Egyptians have been able to move massive stone blocks with water. They used a giant sled to move the blocks, and pouring the right amount of water in front of it is what gave them the chance to reduce friction and make it easier to pull the sled. It becomes clearer when you look at a drawing where more than 100 men are hauling an immense statue attached to a sled. You can clearly see one man pouring water on the sand in front of it, and he is probably the most important in this story. But that can't explain everything, and this is why people kept asking themselves many questions. The workers. Who built the pyramids? You probably thought that the thousands of men working for the pharaoh were slaves or foreigners. After all, it was probably hard to find 10,000 men who wanted to spend 30 years of their lives building a pyramid. When you watch a Hollywood movie, you can see hundreds of men being badly treated by people who force them to work hard every day just because their pharaoh has too much ambition. But this is nothing but a myth that we need to stop believing in. That's because archaeologists found a dozen skeletons of builders perfectly preserved by sand near the Giza pyramids. They even had jars of beer and bread for their afterlife, which they would probably not have if people didn't care about them. Other archaeologists claim that pyramid builders were also paid for their work. Most of them came from poor families and were respected for their work. This is why those who passed away while building the pyramid had the honor to be buried near it. Archaeologists actually know all that since the 90s, but it seems hard for people to understand that these men were not forced to do this, but simply wanted to be loyal to the pharaoh. If you think that it's hard to believe, just wait until you hear the crazy theory on who actually built the pyramids. The aliens. If you're ready for a crazy theory, here it is. Many people think that the pyramids were built by aliens. According to them, ancient Egyptians didn't have what it takes to build these pyramids. This is why they used superior technology offered by aliens to build them. And if you want to push this theory even further, some people think that the pyramids were not built 4,000 years ago, but 12,500 years ago, when there was no civilized human society on the planet. It would mean that the aliens actually built the pyramids. A couple of them were just flying over the earth and thought that it was the perfect place to build something incredible. If you want to know why, you'll have to keep watching. Then, the ancient Egyptians found these monuments and started to think that the aliens were their gods, and even worshipped them. As you can probably guess, historians do know that the pyramids were built by humans 4,000 years ago. They don't know exactly why, but more questions are answered every couple of years, and drawings clearly show no signs of any spaceship or extraterrestrials. But something actually makes them think that they could have used some help from aliens who had an incredible knowledge. That's because many things are just too perfect to be true. Keep watching to know what we're talking about. The perfect number. You probably know about the number pi, the irrational number that starts with 3.14159 and continues forever. If you have a circle, no matter how big it is, the ratio of the circumference to the diameter is the value of pi. But what is strange is that the number pi keeps coming back over and over again when you look at the measurements of the Great Pyramid of Giza. For example, when you divide the perimeter of the pyramid with its height, you get a close approximation to 2 pi. It is similar to a circle because when you divide the circumference of a circle by its radius, you also get 2 pi. We also know that the slope of each side of the pyramid is really close to 4 over pi. That's a lot of numbers that not a lot of people understand, but let's just say that it is too perfect to be a coincidence. From what we know about the ancient Egyptian mathematics and their way of representing lengths and slopes, their goal was probably for their pyramid to exhibit the perfect pi relationship. But some people just can't believe that ancient Egyptians already knew about this number and how to use it at that time. This is one of the reasons why they believe that the extraterrestrials told them about about this. If you think that this is just a coincidence, you'll have to see all the other things that are too good to be true. The North. Another thing that is really impressive is that the Great Pyramid is almost perfectly aligned with the true north. That's because the north-south axis is aligned within 3/60ths of a degree of the true north-south. If you don't understand how remarkable this is, we have to tell you that the alignment of the Meridian building at the Greenwich Observatory in London is less accurate, even if it was built when we had much more technology to get an almost perfect result. It deviated from 9/60ths of a degree compared to 3/60ths, but the problem is that there is no evidence that the ancient Egyptians used astronomical knowledge in the construction of the pyramids. It even seems impossible that they had such knowledge to find true north because they didn't even have a compass at that time. An Egyptologist did find a method to find true north. It can be achieved by using astronomical algorithms. We simply have to compare the rising and the setting position of the sun in the east and the west and bisect the angle between them. We wouldn't be able to do it either, but we can understand that it's possible. No matter what, ancient Egyptians didn't write about that, and this is why some people think that this knowledge came from aliens. The Orion constellation. We promise that we're not trying to convince you that aliens built the pyramids, but everything is too perfect to be a coincidence. This is why we like to make fun of the ancient Egyptians by saying that they were so good that they probably came from another world. This time, studies suggest that the shafts emanating from the king and queen's chambers were perfectly aligned to the Orion constellation. Actually, the northern and southern shafts from the queen's chamber did not extend all the way to the exterior of the Great Pyramid, but people believe that it was just because they abandoned the construction. The location also changed over the years, but scientists know where they were at that time. This is how they were able to understand when the pyramids were built. For example, the star Kokab was associated with the immortality of the soul. The star Sirius was associated with the cosmic mother of the kings of Egypt. Then we had the star Al-Nitak, the brightest star, which symbolizes the association to Osiris, the high god of resurrection and rebirth. The shafts target the stars so precisely that it's impossible to think that it's simply a coincidence. Is it the aliens? No. The ancient Egyptians probably just really cared about the gods and what was shining in the sky above their heads. The planetary alignment. These were great coincidences, but you shouldn't believe in anything you read online. If it's too good to be true, sometimes it actually is too good to be true. Some of you might have seen these pictures of a planetary alignment above the Giza pyramids. People claim that it only happened every 2,737 years, and they even thought that there was a spiritual message implied in them. They were not totally wrong, but we could still say that they were really far from the truth. First, the picture itself wasn't real. It was posted before the event, so it didn't make sense that they already had the picture, unless it was taken 2,737 years ago, which doesn't make sense either. People probably just wanted to make others believe that this is what they were going to see on that night. Planet alignments do happen quite often, and not every 2,737 years, and it did happen on the day they talked about, but don't believe that they were all going to shine perfectly over the three pyramids. Actually, you probably won't even see them shine at all. That's because it's kind of hard to see planets in the sky if you're not using a telescope. But don't worry, we still have many other things to show you that will amaze you. We have enough real mysteries here, no need to create fake ones. The center of the Earth. Everything about the pyramids looks too perfect to be true. We told you that the aliens were just flying above the Earth to find the perfect location to build a pyramid, and they chose Egypt. And some people think that there is a reason why they decided to build it there. That's because the Great Pyramid of Giza is located at the exact center of the Earth's landmass. According to some people, it is at the exact intersection of the longest line of latitude and the longest line of longitude. This is what makes the pyramid an architectural and an engineering marvel, but also a geographical marvel. It is even described as a massive and indestructible stone memorial of a complete and faultless knowledge of the structure of the universe. But there is no way the ancient Egyptians knew about all the continents on Earth at that time, when it will still take centuries for Christopher Columbus to travel the sea. There is no way they would have known about that without a map or traveling across the entire world. When you think that it's exactly at the center of the Earth and also almost perfectly facing north, you could start to believe that it was in fact built with the help of the aliens. But historians have already told us many times that we should stop talking about these alien theories. Don't worry, even when we talk about something that is true, we can find more interesting mysteries. The missing capstone. Many people have been wondering why the Great Pyramid of Giza is missing a capstone on the top. Isn't it the only thing missing to make a perfect pyramid? It seems to be one of the most precise structures on the entire planet, but still this little thing seems wrong. After all, the capstone is the last thing that people put on top of the pyramid once it's built. Some people might even say that it's basically the most important part of the pyramid. Maybe it has never been there, but it's weird to think that the workers would have left the pyramid unfinished after working so hard on it. Other people think that it was made of gold and it was removed from there in a distant past. We clearly see why someone would like to steal it. Another researcher also thinks that a sphere was actually placed on the top of the pyramid. It symbolized the Eye of Horus, and the Great Pyramid of Giza was a place where ancient Egyptians worshipped the sun and Sirius, the biggest star in the sky. These are just theories, and this question is still left unanswered. This is why we made one more theory just for fun. The pyramid is actually not done yet, and zombie workers are going to come back to finish it. The hidden chambers. This recent discovery made us ask ourselves more questions. It is hard to learn more about the pyramids because we want this monument to stay intact. This is why researchers decided that they would use what they call non-invasive visualization techniques with 3D scans, lasers, and drones to see inside the pyramid. And this time, they were just going to look at the temperature of the pyramid to see if they could learn new things. And they were really surprised when they started inspecting the Great Pyramid of Giza. That's because the scan revealed several thermal anomalies during the cooling down and heating up phase. A 6-degree gap was detected between neighboring blocks. With infrared thermography, it was clearly revealed that 3 of the blocks were red, while the others were blue or green. They think that it might be explained by voids behind the surface. It could mean that there are still some hidden chambers that no one has discovered yet. They're still doing more research to solve the mystery, but we don't know how they're going to do it without destroying the pyramid. But let's not forget the motto of the Faculty of Engineering of Cairo University. Just because a mystery is 4,500 years old doesn't mean it can't be solved. What do you think about the alien theory? Don't be shy to share your thoughts in the comment section down below. We love to hear what you think.